Hey, it's Ryan Lanez here. Welcome back to LA Ballers, where we talk about the best sports teams in the city of Los Angeles. I'm your host, Ryan Lanez here. Today's video, we will be talking about what the Lakers need to do this coming All-Star break and what they need to do before the trade deadline. So, if you're an NBA fan or a Lakers fan, I'm sure you know by now Anthony Davis is out 4 to 6 weeks due to a leg injury. As of now, he is diagnosed with a right leg injury, a strained calf with an aggravated right Achilles. So that injury is very difficult to assess due to it being so close to Achilles, and the Achilles could end his season right here or potentially his career. So the Lakers do have to approach this very carefully. As of now, the Lakers need a big man. It's as simple as that. They need either a power forward or a center. They need to make a splash before the trade deadline this coming month. I believe the trade deadline is March 25th, so they have a little bit less than 20 days to make a splash. So I do have a list of trade scenarios that may happen, and also potential free agents that the Los Angeles Lakers can sign any time of the year to replace Anthony Davis. Now, replacing Anthony Davis is virtually impossible, even through trades, but they can at least recreate him some way, like get those same amount of rebounds or points. But there is a lot of questionable players on the Lakers as of now, like Marcus Gasol. He's not the Marcus Gasol that he used to be. I love Marcus Gasol just because Pau Gasol, his brother, was a former Laker, former champion. And yeah, I was very excited about Marcus Gasol joining the Lakers this year, but he's not being that same player, you know? He's not the Marcus Gasol that we saw in Toronto or in Memphis, but he has his shining moments here and there. But the Lakers need a player who can protect the paint defensively and get those rebounds, just like Dwight Howard did last year and JaVale McGee. So losing those two players, JaVale's in Cleveland, Dwight is in Philly. Losing those players was a big hit for the Lakers. So I do have some scenarios where I think may possibly happen during the trade deadline. So let's get into it. As I mentioned, the NBA trade deadline is this month, March 25th. It's honestly one of the most exciting times of the year. Trade deadline in the National Basketball Association is one of the best parts of the season. It's better than MLB trade deadline, NFL, NHL, you name it. I may be biased, but there's a lot of action, a lot of splashes, a lot of Woj bombs from Adrian Wojnarowski. A lot of those always happen right before the trade deadline. So here are some Lakers moves, potential moves that I think may happen, and I'll give you my personal opinion on these trades. So trade number one does involve Hassan Whiteside. Currently, Hassan Whiteside does play for the Sacramento Kings. He's back with the Kings. And in order to make this trade work, the Lakers do have to give something up. Usually, players like this, they want younger players for the future. A big piece out of all these trade scenarios that I have come up with does center around Taylor Horton-Tucker, our second-round draft pick. Great young player, has a high ceiling in my opinion, but these trades does involve Taylor Horton-Tucker every single time. So Taylor Horton-Tucker will be sent to the Sacramento Kings along with some draft picks for Hassan Whiteside. In my opinion, I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. Honestly, all these trade scenarios, big fat zero, big fat F, I don't like them one bit because of Taylor Horton-Tucker. I believe you have a better chance in free agency of getting similar players, and the fact that you don't have to let go of Taylor Horton-Tucker. Taylor Horton-Tucker was a steal in the second round. I believe if we did a redraft, Taylor Horton-Tucker will be drafted middle of the first round or late first round. Second potential trade rumor is Andre Drummond. He's currently with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Same thing. Taylor Horton-Tucker would be sent to Cleveland in exchange of with some draft picks in exchange of Andre Drummond. Now, out of all these three players that I have in the trade scenarios, Andre Drummond personally is the best player because he can score, he can get those rebounds, and his defensive presence is great compared to these players. If we get him, I believe he'll be our starting center throughout the playoffs and through the NBA Finals. Andre Drummond would definitely hold the defensive presence that Anthony Davis did until he recovers, but Andre Drummond will start for the Los Angeles Lakers center if we do execute a trade with them involving Talen Horton-Tucker. Next is Mo Bamba from the Orlando Magic. I put this because I saw that there was some trade rumors with Mo Bamba. No matter how much I want Mo Bamba to become a Laker, I don't think the Orlando Magic are going to move him. He's a great player. He's very mobile. He's a good shooter for his height. I think the Magic may hold on to him just because they need to be developing that team. And Mo Bamba is a good piece for them, a good young piece for the Magic core. But if that does happen, I would love it. But in my personal opinion, between Hassan Whiteside, Andre Drummond, and Mo Bamba, Andre Drummond is the best player out of them three. Next, my favorite free agency scenarios. The reason I love free agency is because we don't have to give up a player. We don't have to give up Talen Horton-Tucker. We don't have to give up future draft picks. And I get it. Draft picks don't really matter to the Los Angeles Lakers just because they're very talented. But hey, we're not going to get a good pick. But the Lakers know how to draft well. Let me give you some examples before we move on. These are late draft picks to second rounders. I'm not going to mention the Brandon Ingrams, the Julius Randle picks, D'Angelo Russell. Late picks, Larry Nance Jr., late first round. Kyle Kuzma, late first rounder. Second round, Jordan Clarkson, Ivica Zubac, Thomas Bryant. Those are talented players who play for the Lakers who are having great careers so far. Draft picks are necessary for the Lakers. Alex Caruso, Talen Horton-Tucker. We need those draft picks, and I personally would not give up those draft picks for players like Hassan Whiteside, Andre Drummond, and Mo Bamba. If it's a star player, then go for it, like Anthony Davis. But at this point, I'd rather hold on to the draft picks, use those picks, draft them, put them on our G League roster, develop them, and then potentially they may be good role players or trade assets. So the Lakers, please do not trade any more draft picks or Talen Horton-Tucker. But these are my favorite free agency scenarios. First, Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin of the Detroit Pistons. They're not having a good relationship right now. He's been sitting out. He hasn't played a game since he demanded for a trade. Now, I don't think obviously a trade with the Lakers can't happen. His contract is too big. It's over $30 million per year. The financials would not work out either way. So the only reason I see Blake Griffin becoming a Laker is if the Detroit Pistons hold on to Blake Griffin past the trade deadline, past March 25th, then they would do a buyout. The Detroit Pistons would purchase the rest of Blake Griffin's contract, and then therefore Blake Griffin would become a free agent. I would love Blake Griffin to be a Laker, but I have some issues of him being that. Right now, he's only averaging 12 points and 5 rebounds per game. He's not the same Blake Griffin when he played for the Los Angeles Clippers. This Blake Griffin is more of a role player when it comes to statistics. His points are okay, but we need him to get more rebounds. We need him to get stops on defense, and I believe he just doesn't have that energy. I don't know if it's just because he's playing in Detroit and it's not in Los Angeles, but if he somehow plays a little bit better than Detroit but less than the Clippers, if his performance is at that level this year, I would love for him to become a Laker. But in my personal opinion, there are other options. He would be like option 3 or option 2 for me as a fan of the Lakers for him to be a Laker. Next option is DeMarcus Cousins. I know. We haven't really seen him play as a Laker. He was a Laker last year. He became a Rocket this year. Rockets bought him out. He's a free agent. I would love for DeMarcus Cousins to be a Laker. DeMarcus Cousins is a talented player. I get he has some anger problems, but he's a defensive presence, and his rebounding skills and his scoring skills from beyond the mid-range to the beyond the arc, he can score. He can make a bucket from any of those locations. DeMarcus Cousins is a baller, and I would love for DeMarcus Cousins to join the Lakers again, get him another shot, get him a starting position. I think he would be a starter if for now while Anthony Davis is out. He'd be a starter, and he'll finally play in the playoffs and in the finals. Hopefully, we reach the finals. But DeMarcus Cousins is my #1 goal if I was the Los Angeles Lakers. And as a fan, I want him to join the Lakers again. Next is Tyson Chandler. Tyson Chandler, former Laker. I believe we did buy him out at one point. He is reaching a very old age in terms of basketball age. But in my personal opinion, Tyson Chandler is a great player when it comes to his defense, blocking, and rebound. And I believe we need a player like that right now as a role player. That was Dwight Howard for us last year. Dwight Howard would score. I don't believe Tyson Chandler would score as much. But Tyson Chandler, 7-foot man, a little bit over 7 feet. He can stop the drive-ins, contest some shots, and get those rebounds that we need. Tyson Chandler is that type of man. And even if he's reaching a little bit of an older age, I don't care. I believe we should sign him. There's 2 roster spots that the Lakers have after Damian Jones, the 10-day contract that we signed recently. After he is let go, we have 2 roster spots. And I believe we should fill it up with DeMarcus Cousins or Tyson Chandler or Blake Griffin. DeMarcus Cousins for sure. But either Blake Griffin or Tyson Chandler, I would love. I would definitely love if there was a buyout involved with Blake Griffin as well. Finally, Joakim Noah. As a fan, I never liked him. He was a pretty dirty player. But his hustle is just uncomparable compared to the rest of the NBA. I haven't seen him play in a while. I believe he last played in New York City in Madison Square Garden. But if we had to sign Joakim Noah, I would love that. If Tyson Chandler wasn't available, but he sure will be. Joakim Noah, defensively, is a great player, which is why I would love for him to be picked up. But don't get me wrong. Like I said, Blake Griffin or Tyson Chandler. But we definitely need to sign DeMarcus Cousins. So that wraps up today's video. Thank you all for watching. If you're new, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below because I do plan on uploading Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And comment down below if you have any video suggestions. Make sure to smash the thumbs up button if you enjoyed the video. And honestly, comment down below which player you want to be a Laker. Hopefully it's DeMarcus Cousins, Blake Griffin, or Tyson Chandler. That's just me. But other than that, thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.